After losing and regaining the same 20 to 50 pounds over and over and over, I've learned my fair share of weight loss tips. And even though most of the tips work for at least a little while, now that I'm older and wiser, I finally see the problem with following any advice meant for quick weight loss. Every magazine article I followed, every diet book I put into practice, and every guaranteed weight loss plan I tried all led me down the same path. I struggled through hunger and intense workouts for months at a time, only to regain everything I lost shortly after ending my diet. But the thing is, I never ended my diet because I reached my goal. Nope. My diets always spiraled out of control into all-out binge fest, mostly because my physiology had enough. And then I'd be on to the next, researching how to take off all of the weight I regained, plus the extra 10 pounds that came along with it. Once I lost more than 100 pounds with keto and fasting, I thought I had it figured out. 50 pounds of regained weight later, turns out I didn't. But once I got back to the drawing board, I dug in and learned not only how to drop the weight, but this time I focused on the long-term habits I needed to form to finally keep the weight off. So instead of going into another fad diet in order to lose the weight as quickly as possible, while hoping I just figure out how to maintain it later, this time I took the slow and steady approach where I built the right habits that will serve me long after reaching my goal. And that leads me to the first tip I put into practice for a weight loss plan that works long term, and that is avoiding quick fix plans. Instead of learning the quickest strategies to drop the weight as fast as possible, I quit all popular diets with a name. Because even though I told myself that I can go the rest of my life without indulging in my favorite foods like chips and salsa, or even something as simple as never having a sandwich for lunch again, the truth is, I didn't really want to. And this made plans like keto and paleo a no-go. And even though I previously fasted upwards of 20 hours most days because I thought it was an easy way to lose weight, that all changed when I figured out all of that fasting was sending me into a constant state of fight or flight that completely wore down my adrenals, leaving me exhausted and cranky. But after following low carb and keto for so long, I still understood the power of eating lower carb meals for fat loss. But since I needed the carbs to help my adrenals recover, instead of throwing my former low carb strategy out completely, I compromised with a plan where I eat fewer carbs by day with more carbs at night. Keeping carbs lower during the day helps me eat lower calorie meals with less hunger. And when it's easier to keep calories under control, well, it's easier to lose weight. But I still needed more carbs to get my body back into balance. I soon learned that saving extra carbs for meals or snacks later in the day helps my body shift into an anabolic state. And this is ideal for rest and recovery. Plus, I feel like I'm getting a treat without added cravings later, mostly because there is no later. By the time I'd be ready to eat again, I'm already asleep. But once I began cutting carbs earlier in the day, I had to replace them with something. Because even though you do need to eat less in order to lose fat, the trick to sustainable weight loss is to still eat as much as you can while eating in a moderate calorie deficit. And a great way to eat less while still giving your body the nutrients it needs is to eat more protein. In fact, when I began my journey to lose 40 pounds after 40, my goal was to work up to eating 30 to 50 grams of protein per meal. Even though a lot of influencers will tell you to aim for 30 grams of protein with each meal, I knew that wouldn't be enough to reach my goals. Since I wanted to build more muscle to help build my metabolism, a better goal was to eat somewhere around 1 gram of protein per pound of my target weight. If I stuck to only 30 grams of protein per meal, and then I ate 3 meals per day, that's only 90 grams of protein. Since I have zero desire to weigh 90 pounds, I thought somewhere around 150 to 160 pounds was a more reasonable goal. And that meant my goal was to eat closer to 150 grams of protein per day, or broken down somewhere around 50 grams per meal. Of course, I still eat snacks, which means if I have 1 or 2 protein-heavy snacks, then not every meal has to hit 50 grams. But when I get a minimum of 30 grams per meal while actually aiming for more, that is when it's easy to hit my protein goal. Speaking of snacks, it's also important to track calories because, like you've probably heard a bajillion times before, weight loss really does come down to staying in a calorie deficit. And after losing 40 pounds this past year, I've found that as long as I stick to a moderate calorie deficit while also keeping protein high, that is the key to a consistent fat loss plan that is also sustainable. But I also had to get more active. like working my steps up to 7 to 10,000 steps per day. But the biggest benefits of getting my average step count up from only 2 or 3,000 steps to well over 10,000 steps most days is that walking is a good way to reduce stress while doubling as a natural appetite suppressant, which makes it easier to eat less. Plus, I get an extra calorie boost, which helps with the calories outside of the weight loss equation. And this is without all of the stressful workouts that I thought helped weight loss, only later to learn that living on cardio machines actually makes weight loss harder. And I learned that overdoing stressful exercise for quicker results leads to diminishing returns, since I listen to my favorite health podcasts while I'm out for my daily walks, which is an important tip I picked up a while back. And that's learning while walking is a great way to retain important information, which means I make it a habit to listen to trusted health podcasts while getting steps in. But trusted is the key word, because there is a whole lot of health information out there that's not the best. Like some of these health influencers, they use fear tactics and drama, like claiming sugar will kill you, but so can spinach because, oxalate. And you better avoid chicken, since chicken is clearly the devil because of cholesterol, carcinogens, and contaminants. But eggs from the devil itself, those are perfectly fine. Well, except not fine because, cholesterol, and so on and so forth, until the only thing that you're not terrified of eating is broccoli. But wait, broccoli is rich in potassium, which could thin your blood and cause a hemorrhagic stroke. So now that not even broccoli is safe, what the heck are you supposed to eat? You will eat the bugs, which means you have to be picky about where you get your health information from. I mean, my YouTube channel isn't a bad place to start. You can hit that subscribe button and see my smiling face each week. Plus, I have plenty of other videos for you to watch, like, comment on, and share, just a thought. But back to my favorite trusted source. I also learned that building muscle, or at a very minimum, maintaining the muscle that I already had, is the best thing that I could do to keep the weight off. So not only did strength training 2 or 3 times per week make it easier to lose fat, but since building muscle also builds your metabolism, well, a stronger metabolism means I get to eat more while losing fat. Plus, my maintenance calories are higher ever since I stopped using crash diets to lose weight quickly. And higher maintenance calories are super important since previous low-calorie plans crashed my metabolism, which is the reason that I spent the past 30 years constantly losing and regaining the same 20 to 50 pounds. But I learned that I wouldn't get very far with building muscle if I didn't eat enough protein. So that's one reason I start every single meal with protein. Because whenever I eat a few ounces of turkey before eating my sandwich, well, that's an entire 14 grams of protein that I just added to my day without a whole lot of effort. Plus, starting meals with protein or even fibrous veggies lowers my blood sugar spike. And keeping blood sugar stable throughout the day is one of the best things I can do to control hunger, which again is super important for the calories inside of the weight loss equation. Of course, focusing on real foods that keep me satisfied is also important for the calories inside of that equation. And that's when I finally ditched all diet-friendly foods that aren't so diet-friendly after all. Because I learned eating too many of these processed diet foods that come in packages and wrappers were causing me to eat an extra 600 calories per day. So 600 times 7 is 4,200 calories, and there's 3,500 calories in a pound, so 4,200 divided by 3,500. Added up, all of those convenient diet foods were causing me to gain 5 pounds a month. But once I eliminated most of the diet-friendly foods from my life, I still needed to have a life. And spending all of my time shopping and planning and prepping just wasn't it. Since I knew I'd never stick to some complicated meal plan that took hours each week to prep, I made things simple by figuring out what works for me, and then I pretty much stick to the same meals and snacks most days. More often than not, my breakfast of choice is either a protein shake or sometimes a turkey egg wrap. Lunch is usually a sandwich or another wrap with some almonds or some huevos. For a snack, I typically stick to popcorn, Greek yogurt, cheese with an apple, or protein ice cream. Then for dinner, I mix it up a little more. But not too much, since I still find myself rotating through the same 6 to 8 meals that work for my family and that I know work for my plan. And by eating similar foods each day, I don't have to spend extra time figuring out which foods work for my macros. And one less thing to worry about makes my flexible diet fit seamlessly into my life. While these 10 tips can help you with a plan that fits seamlessly into your life, you won't see very much progress if you don't start your day with the right habit. Because let's face it, once you start your day on a blood sugar roller coaster, it is all downhill from there. So be sure to watch this video next, where you'll learn the 5 quick morning habits I added to my routine that makes losing 40 pounds this last year way easier.